Well, welcome back to another community interview here on the Inkwell Lounge. I'm your host, Chris, aka Questing for Lore, and in this week's episode, I got to spend some time getting the latest update from one of the most well-known people and content creators in the Disney Lorcana community, Rebekah Quests. So we talk all about her milestone of hitting 10,000 followers on Instagram, what it's like casting in an official DLC, her content creation, and some of what's coming next for her. Sound like fun? Let's get to it. Well, hey, Rebekah, it is really good to have you on again. Thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. It's been a while now.
It has been. We were just talking before that it has been quite a while, but I'm so glad to be back.
Oh, well, thank you. It's always a joy to have you on. So,
thank you.
I think, let's see, you were like my 13th episode back in 2024. That seems like forever ago.
Seems so long ago. Yes.
And
that was
especially
very early.
in internet time, you know?
Right. Yes. Which is like also a huge congrats to you for having the show going and all the community members that you're highlighting and everything. Yeah. It's awesome to see you still doing it. Well, and the rebrand and everything.
I know. I was very happy that it kind of like, it seemed to go pretty smoothly, you know, to be able to have a little bit more open chance of doing, you know, other things, not just these interviews. I adore these interviews. To be able to sit down and just talk with anybody and everybody. You know, I've had so many different people on, you know, people like you that have been DLC casters and are out there in front of the community, you know, constantly, all the way down to people that are like brand new creators that, you know, I think one or two of them have had like 200 followers, but I love their content. And so they got on the show.
They're here. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Well, okay, so for the people that don't know, you know, that have been living under a rock in the Lorcana community and have no idea who you are, kind of give a basic, you know, quick, you know, introduction.
Yeah, so my name is Rebekah, and I started creating Disney Lorcana content back in 2023 when the game first launched, and I mostly create content on Instagram, and that's where I've really been growing my account and connecting with the community there, creating things for new players, but also just fun and funny content, you know, song parodies and little skits and things. And through my content, I was able to grow to a place where I was invited by the team at Ravensburger to be part of the official broadcasts and commentator team for the Disney Lorcana challenges. So I have been a part of every single Disney Lorcana challenge, actually, since the very first one. And this year for season 2, I'm actually one of the hosts along with Baker, Lorcana Villain, and I'm part of the North American and European DLCs for the entire season, which has been just incredible. So much fun. And of course, just getting to connect with the community, both online and in person, has been a wonderful journey. And it's when I look back over the last 2.5, years, it's just been a wild ride, and I have so much fun creating content, and I'm excited to keep creating.
Nice.
That's me.
So we'll get to the casting stuff a little bit later, but I do want to focus first on the content creation because there is a huge congratulations in order. I have to say, it is absolutely amazing you hitting that 10,000 follower milestone. Ooh. That is insane.
It was one of those numbers that I, from the beginning, was like, that if I can make it to 10,000, that'll be like it. That is like the when I have the little K, behind my name on Instagram. Yep. And so it was really interesting because there was a point in time where I had a reel on Instagram that went a little viral, and I got a lot of followers, and my account kind of blew up in a fairly short amount of time. And I got to like 7,000 or 8,000 followers. And then there was a time between then and getting to 10,000 that was kind of just this really, really slow organic growth. And there were times, I will admit, that I got a little frustrated by that because I was like, when is it going to happen? And And what's interesting, and I know maybe we'll touch on this a little bit, but when I think about what kind of content I wanted to create or not create, I definitely knew that there were some types of content that I could do that probably would have helped me grow a little faster, but I
Mm,
just I didn't want to create that kind of content. And so I made that conscious decision to say, like, no, this is the stuff that I have fun making and creating and sharing with the community. And if that means it's a little bit slower growth, then that's what it is. And that number is really exciting. And I don't make any pretense about it, but also the journey to get there was really meaningful, I guess, to me, to do it
mhm.
in a way that I was really proud of. And I can reflect back and say that it was authentically myself and what I wanted to be doing the whole time to get to that number.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's amazing to, as somebody who has been doing content creation for a little while, you have that draw, right? You want to
Mm.
say, "Oh, okay, this is the stuff that's really popular."
Yeah.
You see especially on like Instagram and TikTok and everything where there's trends and it doesn't seem like so much on the, well, I guess YouTube Shorts kind of, but
Kind of,
um
yeah.
yeah, but you see these trends and you're like, "Oh, should I take advantage of it? Should I hop on board with this?" But it's really cool to hear you, talk about it and say that you focused on what you wanted to make, that it wasn't
Yeah.
about those trends. It wasn't about, yes, you want to see the numbers go up. We all do.
Always, yes.
That's just how it goes. But it's like that certain level of validation that kind of helps keep you going.
Yeah.
But yeah, to know that you've made this authentic content that is you. It is not
Hmm.
like I'm following the latest trend just to get the numbers kind of thing. And people can
Yeah.
tell that. They see
Yeah.
that and they're like, yeah, they're just hopping on board of the bandwagon just to, see those numbers go up. And that's the only reason they're doing it. But your
Yeah.
content is so genuine, is so
Mm.
authentic. You
Thank you.
you can see the joy that you have for the game. You can see how much you enjoy sharing it with your family and with all the community around you. And just seeing, all the stuff that you post like from DLCs and everything is super fun. So,
Yeah.
um,
I love that that comes across because that to
yeah,
me is like really important too. Like, uh, if I am not, having that authentic, joyous experience, like I think that does translate through the camera. Like people can tell when things aren't genuine and if you're just phoning it in. I will admit there have been times that I've done that because sometimes I'm like, I got to post today. I'm just going to do
yeah,
something,
yeah.
and I jump on trends now and again, but there's definitely, to me, being a content creator, the creator part of it is the most important part. I have
Mhm.
always been a creative person. I have a background in musical theater and I've pursued other creative interests, and just like for fun, not like seriously, but like, doing like sketching, I'm a singer, doing dance, photography or whatever, like anything that I can have in my life that helps, tap into like my creative soul is really important to me. And so it's the creator part that to me is the most important word of that title, so to
Mhm.
speak, of content creator. And that whatever it is that I'm creating and finding joy out of, that's where my content should land, as those things.
Yep.
And I think that that's something that, the content creators out there who I think find a lot of success, there's a lot of luck and, things do go viral. Like there's so much that goes into it that's out of your control. But
Yep.
the people I think who find the most fulfillment, which doesn't always translate to quote unquote success, are the people I think that are able to bring their authentic selves to it. Because otherwise you'll just burn out, right? That's the
Oh,
other part.
yeah, absolutely. If you're trying to do it just to get the views or just to,
Yeah.
make it big or something, yeah, it's a grind. I mean, you
Yeah.
might start off strong and you see
Mm.
so many content creators do that too. They'll
Mhm.
get out there and they'll post, every single day for like 2 or 3 months and then all of a sudden it settles in and it becomes a job.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
You
you
know,
have to
and
really find that joy in it.
yeah, what's crazy about that is that when I very first started creating content, and I can't remember if I have shared this with you or, um, where I've talked about it before, but I started my Instagram account, and at some point in the first like couple of days, maybe week or so, I was like, what would happen if I posted about this every day for 30 days? Like, and I gave myself a challenge to
Yeah.
like, let's just see what happens if I post every single day. And I think that if I hadn't been able to find the joy in it, then I would have burned out. I would have stopped right then and not done anymore, or maybe dabbled and eventually fizzled out. But
Mhm.
I found that there was something about this game and the characters, the glimmers, and then the community and everything, that it just fueled me to keep going. But I did kind of start out in that mindset of like, I'm just going to post every day and see what happens. And
Yep.
the spark grew into a flame, as Hamilton says.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's great when that happens. Honestly, I think there's so many people that see all the like the wildly successful creators that are out there, and they think, they watch their videos and they're like, "Oh yeah, I could totally do that."
Yeah.
And sure, in theory, yes, you could, but they don't see the hours of editing. They don't see, all the
Yeah.
time that's spent planning these things. Because I'm sure even on your short form content, there's still time that you sit down and actually plan out and say, okay, I'm going to make a video about this, or, and then you have to
Yeah.
prepare if you have any, set or anything around you, or,
Yeah.
anything like that, any audio or anything. There's a lot of preparation that goes into this stuff. And I think a lot of that stuff gets hidden, and it's really important to talk about that so that the people that are out there that are wanting to do this kind of thing have those realistic expectations of it.
Oh, for sure. There's, a lot of people talk about like, how do you find the balance,
Mhm.
especially because I am a mom. I have two kids. I am in a season of life where the kid factor is not as prohibitive, I should say, as it
Yep.
was when they were younger. My kids are 13 and 16, so they are
Okay.
very self-sufficient, you
About the
know.
same as mine.
Okay, yeah. But that makes a difference. If they were 3 and 6, I would not
Oh
be
yeah.
doing what I'm doing, right? And I actually had a couple of people reach out to me on Instagram every once in a while. People will ask me about starting to create content, and a couple people specifically asked about how do you balance things with a family, and because it is a lot of work, and
Hmm.
those people that were asking the question knew that. And it's you can't pretend like it's not a lot of work, but you have to. I talk about pockets of time. For me,
Yeah.
I am lucky that I work from home, and I don't start work until 9 o'clock. My kids go to school at 8, and they ride their bikes, so I don't even have to drive them
Oh,
unless it's
even
raining.
nicer.
If it,
Yeah. Well,
if
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
if it's raining outside, I'll drive them to school.
Nah,
So,
just give them
but
raincoats. They're fine.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. I try to tell them that they don't want to, but but so then I have this hour right between 8 o'clock when they've gone to school and 9 o'clock when I have to log in to my computer at work, where I have 1 hour that is kind of free time for me,
Mhm.
as long as I'm up in the morning and ready. Where for the last 2.5 years, that 1 hour window is where I probably created like 90% of my content, right?
Okay.
Because that's the time that I don't have any other responsibilities. And so I was able to use that pocket of time that I had to do this thing that I wanted to do. That doesn't mean I don't create content other times, obviously.
Of course.
And or I'll film at that time because there's nobody making a lot of noise, but I'll edit later, and things like that. So finding pockets of time to me is one of the biggest things that somebody could do if you're trying to. Oh, and I started to say this, I never got back to it. Balance, right? There's no
Hmm.
such thing. There's no such thing as balance. Zero.
That's
Like,
fair. That's
just,
fair.
yeah, just like wipe that word out of your vocabulary. It's, sometimes you have to spend more time with your family, and your content has to take a break.
Hmm.
Sometimes, though, you want to be pushing to meet a goal or something on content. And so you know, pull back a little bit from family responsibilities, so that you can focus on that. So there's no such thing as every day it's 50-50. It's always going to be shifting sand, and that you're putting the focus where it needs to be at the right time. So, in that sense, I suppose there is balance, but it's never going to be like equal energy towards all things at all times. It's always just going to be, where do I want to be spending my energy now? And having the people in your life around you, whether that's kids or a partner or whoever it may be, that is understanding and supportive of that too. That's the other
Yes.
big thing. So
Yep.
I'm very lucky that I have a partner who is very supportive, and he knows I love it. And my husband is not interested in Lorcana at all, but I have tried so many times.
It sounds familiar. Trust me.
It's
I get it.
right.
Yeah.
So having a supportive partner, finding those pockets of time, and then just figuring out at the different seasons, where I'm putting my energy and my focus. And those are kind of like the three things that I have always kept in mind as I've been creating content, being a mom and having a job and trying to do Disney Lorcana stuff.
Yep. Yep. And, and it's only expanded over the years. I mean, you started
Yeah.
off with just the content creation, and now you've widened out to, more community stuff and DLCs and going
Yes.
overseas and all sorts of stuff. So,
And I don't know if you saw that I shared this in a couple of spots. I haven't made like a huge, big announcement yet about this, but now you'll be part of the big announcement. But
nice.
because of the opportunities that I've gotten and how my content is growing, I actually am going to be leaving my job and doing Disney Lorcana content at
Really?
full time. Yes.
That's awesome.
So
Congratulations.
Thank you. So there's a lot to celebrate with the hitting the 10K and then making this decision. So I have about a month left. I wanted to give my work plenty of time to try to hire someone maybe. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's been pretty cool to get to this point and reach the milestones that I've needed to reach to be able to make this decision. So content is going to look different for me going forward. And it'll be a new balance now, because right now it's going to be, when do I shut it off, right? So that it's not just 24/7, always go, 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 but always like allowing myself to take breaks and step away, because sometimes that's also hard.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that guilt that you feel sometimes, it's like, oh, well, I should be doing something, or I should be
Yes.
editing, or I should, when it's like it's so mentally taxing that, you need to take that break so that you can decompress a little bit. You have to have, like you're saying, that balance, and it's not just balance with family, it's mental balance as well. So
Right. And even just like the creative aspect too, right? That if you're just go, go, go all the time, like eventually you're going to run out of like creative ideas, and the energy to even try and be creative. And so allowing yourself to take a step back, recharge, do other things, step away, be with the people that you love, and then come back with a fresh mind and, get those creative juices going again is really important too.
yeah. Yeah, and it's amazing how, you can be just like completely doing something else, like going for a hike or, just hanging out with the kids. And then all of a sudden some idea pops
Bing.
into your head and
Yes.
it's like, oh, perfect. I needed something.
Yep.
There it came.
There it is. Yep.
Yep. Yeah, so it's been interesting to see the kind of the evolution of your content over time. I think so. Let me get it in your words. How would you describe how your content has evolved over the last 2-ish years?
Oh, that's a great question. I think, when I very, very first started, it was just it was really focused on the game and like education. And the reason for that was because I saw a lot of bad advice out there, especially for new players or people
there's
just
still
being
some.
like,
Yeah.
there's probably a little
Unfortunately.
bit. Yeah. But especially in the early days, I don't know, and people being mean to people asking new questions who are new and stuff. And so I really, really was focused in the beginning on the education part of Disney Lorcana and introducing people to the game itself. And what happened was I had this fun idea for a little skit where I would pretend to be the ink colors, and
Yes.
I was like,
Love
I'm going to
them.
do this, and no one else is going to like this, but I had fun doing it, and then everybody did love it, and
Hmm.
so
And
I
still
was like,
do.
well, and
Yeah.
still do. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, then I got to keep doing this. And so I think that when I did that, it kind of tapped into, again, that creativity, the creator part, where I was like, oh, I don't have to make content that's just educational. I can do stuff that's fun and funny and do these skits or do a song parody, making fun of something that's going on with the card game. And so a lot of the things that I do actually still have some bit of education maybe in it,
Hmm.
baked into it about the game, or making commentary on like the latest news and what's going on in the meta and all of that, but doing it in a way that is entertaining or really relatable to people. And so I think that when I look at my content now, that's more of what I'm focusing on, is how can I make content that's entertaining, relatable, but still, um, you know, touching on what is current with the game and
Hmm.
where it is, the current, meta, what's going on with the cards and the community and all of that. And that is kind of how I've seen my content evolve. I don't know if you would say the same from what you've seen, because I know you've been following for a long time, but that's kind of how I see my creator journey with the content that I create.
Yeah, definitely. I still remember some of the earlier stuff that was, introduction to the cards and the mechanics of
Mm-hmm.
the game and, what a mulligan was and, all this
Right.
kind of stuff that people that were just starting out, because it seems like when that kind of content, like, or at least for you, your content, when that was being created, there was a lot more people that were brand new to the game.
Yeah.
They were brand new to
Very much.
TCGs. They didn't always understand exactly what it meant to, what was the meta? What was this keyword?
Yeah.
How does it interact with these other things? And to be able to have that solid foundation is great. But it's really cool to see, that evolution over time and really see you bring, your authentic self to your content and to be able to see that, that creativity come in and just
Yeah.
see you enjoy creating it. You can tell that it's not just like, okay, I'm going to record something today and then I'm going to edit it and then I'm going to post it.
Right.
It's, it's definitely,
Yeah.
you can see the joy behind it, which is great.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting as a content creator. You're like, especially on Instagram, because because of the short form content, which is probably
Hmm.
true on TikTok as well. It's like it's always what's new and what's next, right? And but just very different from YouTube content creation, which is something that I haven't really gotten into. I'm hoping to more in the future, but eh, always feeling like I do have to have something new to do. And
Hmm.
that isn't necessarily always true. I could go probably either repost, find old videos, or redo them, touching on things that I did a year or 2 years ago now, and repost them. And they would be great content for the community, some evergreen stuff. But
Hmm.
also, it's fun to do new things, I guess, right?
It is.
So it's fun to come up with new ideas and new things, and especially with a game that is always changing. And we have a new set coming out. Reveal
Yeah.
season is about to start.
Yep.
It is fun to do new stuff all the time.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I mean, I think the community has gotten big enough and there's so much going
Yeah.
on that there always is new things to talk about.
Yes.
I
Always.
think I don't think I, look on because I'm primarily on Twitter on that side. Sorry, X, whatever. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
always Twitter.
I still call it Twitter.
Yeah.
Yep, same.
Most people do.
I think it's the name. It's how old we are or
I
something.
know. I
It
know,
will
right?
always be Twitter to
Somebody
me.
somebody actually called me out on it the other day and I'm like, no, it's always going to be Twitter. I'm sorry. It just that's the way
Sorry.
it is. Yeah.
Yep.
But no, it seems like, there's not a day that goes by that there's either not some new announcement about the game, something new that's coming, like reveal season, we're going to ramp
Mhm.
it up and there's going to be new stuff like constantly.
Yeah.
Or there's some drama. There's always drama that's going on, whether it's related to a DLC or related to, some comments from somebody in the community. There's always something going on.
Yeah.
And it seems like, there's definitely no shortage of that kind of thing to draw content ideas from.
Oh,
Now,
oh yeah.
obviously, you don't want to talk about all of it because some of it is a little dicey. But yeah, to be able to have that pool of things to potentially pull from is super helpful as well. It's not like you're playing a game that's like dragging along and it's like, no,
Hmm.
I have a group of like 10 people that are talking about it. And that's the only
Yeah.
opinions that are out there. There's hundreds of thousands of people out there that are playing Lorcana right now.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah.
And constantly growing, which is so cool to see. And
Mhm.
I mean, besides just, watching my own journey as a content creator, watching this game and the community grow over the last few years has been really, really incredible. And, I from the beginning, I'm like, this game hopefully will be around for decades, right?
Yep.
And it's been really, really cool to be a part of this early life of the game and to imagine that in 10 years or 20 years from now that people will be talking about like, oh, what was going on when it first launched, and that we
Yep.
all, can be like, yeah, we were there, we were part of it. i
Yeah.
I remember when Lilo Making a Wish was $20 on
Oh my
TCG Player.
gosh. Yeah. That's like 5 cents or something. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Rotate it out.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing that's so interesting. It's not just the community around the game, but the game itself. You have the meta that
Yeah.
changes. You have the
Mhm.
new, like when they started introducing the new rarities and the cards and everything, it was
Yeah.
just like a whole big thing to talk about. And now you have that stuff for every set, so you can kind of talk about it, as it goes along as well, which is super helpful. And I've noticed, a lot of content creators will do that. There's a whole lot that, you create, more of the short form Instagram, like some of the
Mhm.
entertainment, not entertainment driven, but you know what I mean.
What you mean? Yeah.
And then you have some of the people that are more like on YouTube that are, they dig into the game, they dig into the mechanics, they dig into
Mhm.
the cards and the meta, and it's like the
All the
hardcore
deck
kind of stuff.
profiles. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And to have such a variety of content and to be able to have it all be about this same game, is like really unifying overall. I feel
Yeah.
like. It just
Totally.
depends on what you want to consume and how you want to consume it. So,
There's something for everyone.
yep, yep. So I'm curious, you did mention potentially getting into the YouTube side of things. Have you thought forward about
Yeah.
anything that you might create on that side, or is that still
I
kind of under
have.
wraps?
Yeah, no, I can share a little bit about it. And the first thing that I want to do, hopefully, we'll see, is talking about the early days of Instagram and having more educational content. I actually want to go back to that, but for YouTube,
Hmm.
of like creating some introductory videos of Disney Lorcana basics and the language and how the game plays, to help brand new players learn how to play. I've done a couple of series on Instagram, but Instagram, the way the content works is it's not really evergreen in how it lives on the internet. Whereas YouTube content, you make a video, and if people, if you have good SEO, which I'm like, oh, I have to learn how to do that, right? It could live
That's a whole
forever.
different world,
That's a
trust
whole,
me.
oh, it
Yeah.
is. It is. But a video on YouTube can live forever, right? It
Hmm.
can, if somebody's Google searching how to play Disney Lorcana, if you have something on Instagram, it won't come up in the Google search for that, but
Yeah.
a YouTube video will. And so that's one thing that I really want to do is create some of that content. I do want to do some more like song parody entertainment stuff, maybe that I put on
Hmm.
YouTube in a little bit longer format, because when I do it on Instagram, it's always very short for that, and I'm like, oh, I could do, instead of just doing like one verse and one chorus, I could do a whole song and put it on
Yeah. Yeah.
YouTube, and that would be really fun. And I think people really enjoy that kind of content. And then I've thought a lot about How can I talk more about the more social way of playing Disney Lorcana, whether that is theme decks or, focusing on things like Illumineer's Quest or Pack Rush, or just not how to play the game and the things about playing the game, but not from a competitive point of view.
Yeah.
Because there are so many people who love playing Disney Lorcana with their friends at home, around the kitchen table, or even at weekly play at their league, but they're playing in a non-competitive way.
Hmm.
And there is a little bit of content out there around playing more casually, but not a lot. And so that's something that you know, I want to see more of. That's the kind of content I would like to see more of. And so I'm like, well, then I should create it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
so that's
that's how the adage goes, right? If you want to see it, go
right.
ahead and make it, you know.
Make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are kind of the two things that, and of course, I'll also do things like pack openings or unboxing videos and,
Right.
the content creator content,
Yeah.
that is out there. But those are the things that I'm excited about creating on YouTube.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of the content, the Lorcana content on YouTube that is competitive focused. No
Very
knock
much.
against that. I mean, that's great. You know, if
No.
that's the kind of stuff you want to make and that's where your passion is, cool. But I do think I agree. I think there is definitely a gap in the more casual side to be able to say it's okay if you don't want to play a meta deck. It's okay if you don't feel like you can win a set champs and don't feel comfortable going to it. Here's the other stuff. Here's the other ways you can interact with the game. To be able to just have that kind of representation out there, and for people to
Yeah.
see, yes, it's cool, and this is fun. You can still have
Mhm.
fun playing the game this way. I think that's pretty big.
I think it is, especially to me at least, it seems like, especially as the game grows, and I think we'll continue to see more people who are Disney fans
Yep.
coming into the game, especially with the things that we saw like at the International Festival of the Arts,
Yep.
and having more of a presence in the parks, and even the things like the promos at the Disney movies that they were doing. Like, I think we're going to see a lot more people from Disney ecosystem coming in that don't have an interest in becoming competitive players. And maybe they
Hmm.
will, maybe they are interested, or maybe they'll get into it casually and then they'll want to pursue competitive, but again, like you said, there's that gap. And I think for a lot of people who are just being introduced to the game, that is some content out there that is missing a little bit. And so hopefully I can bring something that will fill that gap, and I can do it in a way that's fun and still, genuine and authentic to the kind of content that I want to create. But it will take some experimentation, I think, on my side, because
Yep.
it is a new, format to be doing long form content. It is very different from, trying to keep it under 90 seconds. Well, 9 minutes, or 10 minutes versus 90 seconds. That's very, very different. So finding
Yep.
what works for me in YouTube content is going to be, it'll be a fun adventure. I'll say that.
Yeah, I totally sympathize. Having started on the YouTube side and trying to make content, on the short form side, it is definitely a challenge to try to do that mental, shift between it. You still, like, I've been doing this show for years now, which is weird to
Years,
say.
yeah. Yeah.
But to like try to not recreate the same kind of atmosphere in a short form video is hard. And I can
Yeah.
only imagine that the opposite is going to be true for you. It's like that trial and error that you're talking about. It's just going to take, work. But now you've
Yep.
got time,
It'll take some
right?
time.
So,
I know. See, that's the thing is I have been thinking about making content for YouTube for uh over a year, probably, like about a
mhm,
year. It was like last summer or spring, about where I was like, I really need to like get into the YouTube game. But I was just like, I do not have the bandwidth to like
yeah.
figure it out. And so now I will have the space in my life to jump in and figure it out. So it's pretty exciting. I know it's going to be a lot of work, but I am really excited about it to see where it can go. We'll see.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely look forward to it. I know it's always, like I said, it's kind of that mental shift of getting over to a different platform and everything. But sometimes that really unlocks something. You realize how potentially limited you've been on the Instagram and TikTok side with sharing
Mm,
the ideas that you want to
yeah.
really share, and all of a sudden you have this open forum to be able to do it. So yeah, I definitely look forward to it. I'll be really interested to see see what you come
Thank
up with. So
People are going to get tired of hearing me talk. No, I'm kidding.
no, no, not at all.
No, it'll be fun.
So I'm curious, as someone who has made it as a content creator, I think we can officially say that now. So has there been any point or any person or any particular thing that you can remember that was like a pivotal moment in your journey?
I I have had a hard time pinpointing any particular spot. And as someone who always I'm not a perfectionist. I would never call myself a perfectionist, because especially when it comes to like my content, I'm like it's better done than perfect, right? I
Yep.
I do not strive for perfection, um, but I do have a mentality of constant improvement and constant growth. And so it is a little hard sometimes to stop and say, like, no, like you've quote unquote made it, or like this is successful, and celebrating the wins. And that there's not been one specific moment that I could necessarily point to, or I should say, there's multiple moments that I could point to, like being a part of the first world championship broadcast team. I
Mm-hmm.
think that was a big moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I was asked after that to be the host for the entire season of this, season two DLC's host, for North America and Europe, that was a moment where I was like, whoa. And I definitely maybe cried when that happened.
Hey, totally justified.
Right.
No judgment.
Right.
Trust me.
Um, and then, there's been multiple times when I've had interactions with people at a Disney Lorcana challenge, and stories that people have shared with me, or that they've shared an impact that my content has made on them and their journey with Disney Lorcana. And there are some of those moments that were really pivotal for me. There was a moment in Seattle DLC where I was talking with a mom who was telling me like about her daughter and how important like the representation of me as a female person in the space was so important, or a woman that I met at Richmond, talking about how she also is a mom and doesn't know anyone else in her family that plays, and that I
Mhm.
encouraged her to like go to an LGS by herself, and so
Nice.
those things to me are also like these little like signposts, I guess, of like success and making it, that when you have an impact on somebody's life like that, like
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah.
um and I think that when I hit the 10K on Instagram, which is a huge number, and it's also really small compared to other, like, not in Disney Lorcana. There are some Disney Lorcana creators who also have more than 10,000.
Yeah.
But when you look at creators in general, like there's people with hundreds of thousands of views.
Oh, yeah.
But I right, or 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
But I actually had a really difficult time celebrating that achievement. And I actually shared a little bit about that when I posted it,
Mhm.
because I am very much like next. What is next? But being able to kind of look back at, and when I hit that number and look at all of these other moments that I've mentioned, and more, and say like, yeah, I can celebrate like I have accomplished so much and have grown so much, and that it's okay. I think, and maybe it's my upbringing, who can say, like, it feels like you're bragging, like to celebrate feels
Yeah.
like an egotistical, prideful thing almost. And so I had to kind of like do a little inner work to get over that and be like, no, it's okay. Like, Rebekah, look at what you're doing. You're traveling the world
Hmm.
for Disney Lorcana. You're making an impact on people's lives. You hit this big number on Instagram. You're getting ready to leave your job to do this full time.
Yep.
Yes, like, let's celebrate this moment because there is some success here, and that is worth celebrating. So it doesn't really answer your question, but
No, no. I mean, honestly, it was in there somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, it was in there. So
Yeah. No, trust me, as someone who goes off on tangents regularly, I don't have any problem with my guests just talking and sharing their thoughts, and it doesn't matter if it actually answers the question anyway. So,
yeah, but I do think there's some truth to say that, like, for some people there will be like a singular moment that
hmm.
is like, I've made it. But I think for many people it's more like a sunrise, or something where it's just slowly over time the little things kind of add up, and then you look and you're like, wow, it's daytime.
Yeah.
How did that happen? So
Yeah, and I think especially when you're focused on like the community aspect of the game. It's not like you're like you get some of the streams and stuff that they're literally just opening packs and trying to, it's like, okay, whatever's the
mm,
best in this pack, whoever,
right.
likes it first gets it, or that kind of stuff is
Yeah.
just kind of meh. But when you have, all these people that are focused on the community aspect, focused on the game and the actual, everything around it, game, community,
Yeah.
ecosystem, Lorcana ecosystem. You kind of have to like shift your focus a little bit. It's not about, it's not necessarily all about the numbers like it is on some things.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but
This
yeah,
community is
it's,
fantastic.
I know,
It
right?
is. It is.
I mean, honestly, and I've said this tons of times before, this is my first TCG, and, and I don't know what it's like in other TCG communities. We've all heard the stories, about other groups and other games,
Sure.
but not having experienced it firsthand, you can't say, oh, are they over exaggerating? Was it really not that bad? Or, who knows? But having experienced this community firsthand, I totally agree. I mean, it is amazing, and it honestly, it almost feels like, at least to me personally, it feels more like the community and the game are almost equally important. It's not like the
Yeah.
game is the focus and then the community just kind of happens around it. It almost feels like the Lorcana community is this huge independent thing almost, and people
Yeah.
care so much about it and so much about improving it and keeping it, inclusive and all that
Yeah.
it's just like this whole group of people that are really kind of, tending to that side of things.
Yeah. And I love that for the future of Disney Lorcana too, as the game, that there are so many people in the community, yourself included. I just saw your tweet recently, about, having people, right, that are focused on the community and welcoming new people and all of
Hmm.
that. Like, the fact that there's so many people in the community that care so much about it being a positive, welcoming, inclusive space is just a good sign for the longevity and health of the game going into the future.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's definitely reflected in the DLCs and all the CCQs and
Mhm.
everything, just the huge variety of people. And, I think, who was it that I was talking to the other day? I was talking to Brent Mackay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
he and I were talking, and he was like, yeah, at the Richmond DLC, there was a woman there with her baby and, just
Yes,
doing it, like holding the baby and doing the strolling and stuff while
literally.
she was playing. I was like,
Yes.
what other community would you have that happening? I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, and it's so great to see people that feel comfortable with that kind of thing. They're not like, oh, or am I
Yeah.
going to be looked down on because I have my kid, and I have to kind of take care of the kid
Mhm.
at the same time. And you have people that were understanding. It's like, okay, yeah, the kid's fussy, needs to get fed. Let's pause the
Right.
game, call over the, call over the judge, and we'll put a pause on it to get this stuff taken care of. It's really great to see that aspect of the community reflected at the DLCs and the larger
Oh yeah.
events as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen that kind of more firsthand, probably a little bit even more behind the scenes, because I know, pretty preoccupied at DLCs with, your duties and
We're busy.
everything. But I also know that, there probably is a little bit of downtime where you're able to get out and interact with people and really talk to
Yeah.
them and, and just sit down, potentially and, say, hey, how you doing? Tell me about yourself. Tell me about, how much you love the
Yeah.
game, that kind of stuff. I'm
Yeah.
I'm curious, in your average time at like a DLC, I imagine it's probably, I'm going to guess here, probably about a 90-10 split of how much time you spend on your official duties versus how much time you get to like kind of roam
Probably.
around.
Yeah. I would put it somewhere around there, maybe an 80-20 if depending on how the day is going, but yeah, we are super busy at those events. What I do love though is at, at Richmond, at least it didn't happen at
Mhm.
Milwaukee, but at Richmond, they had the Friday be a day where it was just all side
Yes.
events,
Hmm.
and we didn't have a broadcast. We were doing some rehearsal and we definitely had some stuff going on, but that allowed us to interact with people a lot more on that first day when people were first coming in before the weekend really got started going, which was really cool. But something that we as the casters and as a team and Ravensburger supports us in this, it is important for all of us who are on the team to take time, not just to have a break just because people need breaks, like we actually
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
need lunch breaks and things like that,
Yep.
but that it is important for us to be able to go out and interact with the community because we are in some aspect a face of the game as being
Yeah.
on the stream, right? And so we our personas are very prevalent. And so for people to have the chance to interact and plus all of us have friends there and
Oh,
and we
yeah.
want to say hi. But beyond that, it's like we're ambassadors for the game in a
Yep.
sense. And so being able to interact with the community and people that we haven't met before that are there for their first DLC ever or whatever it may be, or they're there for they've been at every single one, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's interacting, hearing the stories from the community and hearing what brings people joy from the game and listening to those stories from their LGSs or there at the DLCs. That's important. And it's just as important, though it has to be, in a smaller amount as what we're
Right.
doing on the broadcast, in a way. So that is something that we do talk about that, to make sure that we can get out there and talk and interact with people. But we're very busy.
Yeah.
We are very busy.
Yeah. No,
But it's a fun busy.
yeah. Well, yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, you wouldn't do it if it wasn't fun, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've been to enough DLCs and seen, you and Liam and Baker and everybody
Yes.
just, zipping around. And yeah, no,
Running around.
yep. Yep. So
And what was
oh,
really nice is before your next question is
yeah.
at Ghent for the
Mm,
first time, and I hope we see this at other DLCs. We'll see where they have the artists set up and the game devs. They
hmm.
actually had a spot for the casters to go and sit down as well, so that
Cool.
people like could know like at a certain time these during round 6 you know Baker and Kim will be at the table so if you want to say hi or whatever it is. So that kind of made it nice too because sometimes we are, like you said, you just see us running around. And I've
Yep.
had people send me messages or whatever on Instagram where they're like, I saw you, but you looked really busy, so I didn't say hello. And I always feel so bad because I'm like, oh, you can always say hi. And we are busy, but we'll say hi. And so to have like a spot where we could be like, this is our time to be like seated and people can come and say hello, like that actually was really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know they did that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I've talked with some folks in the past that that's one of the things that they kind of said would be interesting, not just like the casters, but some of the more well-known content creators as well, to have some time where
Oh,
they're just
yeah.
there because it's really easy to see the people on the stream, to see the people on their videos, that are producing this stuff, and you don't really think of them as like real people, and to be
Right.
able to like
Yes.
stand there and interact with them and just actually have a nice pleasant conversation about stuff.
Yeah.
It really helps so much to humanize the
Oh,
person,
for
and
sure.
kind of reset things. It's like, oh yeah, that they are just a normal
Yeah.
person with a
They're
normal
just a normal
life.
person.
Yeah.
Yep. And I know that there's other games that do something like that where they have like a creator section or
Hmm.
whatever of their events,
Yep.
and that people can have tables. And I would love to see that at a future, DLCs. And if Disney or kind of could start incorporating that into their events, that I think would just, I mean, content creators are the face of the game, even though not in an official sense, for
Hmm.
most people, like the way the broadcasters are, but content creators are the people that players and fans and collectors are interacting with on a daily basis around the game.
Oh yeah.
And so I think having some more presence at the official events, like a creator corner or whatever they want to call it, would be
Hmm.
pretty fantastic. So we'll see if
Yep.
that ever happens, but I think it would be fantastic.
Who knows? I mean, the game's going to be around for the next 30 years, so
Exactly,
we've got
right?
time,
Yes.
right?
We got time.
So I'm curious, I've talked to some of the other folks that have done casting for the DLCs and for other events as well. So walk me through it a little bit. So the morning of, you wake up,
Mhm.
what's your routine look like to kind of get yourself going, get yourself hyped, be ready for the day?
Well, first of all, I have to say it's unfair that the guys just have to wake up and throw on a suit and they're good to go.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Listen,
Fair enough.
takes me a while to get ready. We got the hair and the makeup and the everything, but it's very silly. But the thing that I do is I have a Disney. It's called Disney Vibes. I have a Disney Vibes playlist on Spotify that I listen to, and it's not music from the Disney movies. It's actually music from like the Disney parks, like songs from like the
Ah,
fireworks shows and the
right.
parades and Phantasmic and like that kind of stuff. And it's kind of got this real epic and inspirational vibe to the music. And like I don't know, the first song is kind of like quieter and then it like ramps up and it gets to like the fun stuff so that by the time I'm done getting ready, then I'm like pumped up and ready to go for the day. So that's
Nice.
that's kind of like my my ritual in the morning before DLC casting is my Disney Vibes playlist.
Nice. Nice. Hey, I mean, everybody's got their thing, and I mean,
Yeah.
even some of the players that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, here's the pregame kind of ritual that I go through to kind of get my head in the right
Mm,
space, and it's
yeah.
interesting to see, people that have these repetitive kind of things that, it's honestly, it's like anything else. You have your way of getting hyped up. You have a certain thing that usually will do it, and that's
Yeah.
the only time you do that thing is to get,
Right.
is to get hyped like that. So
Yeah. I do also listen to the playlist when I go to Disneyland
there you go. I mean,
because I want to
honestly,
get hyped up for those days too.
well, and it's Disney park stuff, so that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
not like it's just some random Disney playlist or, like one of
Exactly.
those random YouTube Disney jazz things or whatever that's out
Right.
there. So yeah,
That's funny.
but yeah. So I'm curious, we kind of also talked a little bit about, the content creator, the caster meetup kind of thing. Is there anything else that you would like to see in the future of DLCs? And not even just
Yes.
DLCs, could be other CCQ events or anything, incorporated at that level as well.
Yeah. So actually, the thing that I would love to see at future DLCs is something that I was very fortunate to work together with a couple of wonderful community members here in Sacramento area to put on an event that was a CCQ, and we incorporated a lot of social activities besides the main tournament that was going on. So we had like speed puzzling and
Hmm.
Disney trivia and different things like that. But one of the things that we did that I would love to see someday, and I know that there's other people in the community that want this as well, is a like a costume cosplay Disney
Yes.
bounding
Yep.
contest. I just to me, it's something that is so reflective of not just Disney Lorcana, but the Disney community as a whole. And to incorporate it in some kind of official way of people who are doing these amazing, you know, sometimes thrown together from closets, but sometimes they're like handmade from head to
Oh
toe
yeah. Yeah.
costumes of Disney Lorcana glimmers is so amazing. And I would love to see that showcased more in some kind of official capacity as a DLC. So that's like one of the top things of my list of things I would love to see at future DLCs is some kind of cosplay contest.
Nice. Yeah,
Make it happen.
one of my guests a couple of episodes ago, Zebax would. I'm sure she would get on board with
Yes.
helping,
I think she
helping make
would.
that
I
happen.
think she would.
Yep. Yeah, it's talking with her. It's amazing. I mean, how much work it is to
Oh,
do like those really
yeah.
really professionally done, outfits and everything. It's wild
Yeah.
how much effort people put into them, and
Impressive.
to have some place to be able to show that off, and to be able to show the results of their hard work to a crowd that's definitely going to appreciate it. I mean, we're all Disney
Yes.
fans, to see that
Oh, yeah.
reflected, up there is would be
We
amazing.
Yeah, when we did it at Glimmer Games, it people so on Saturday we did a Disney Bound contest. So
Mm-hmm.
Disney Bound is for anyone who doesn't know is like your street clothes that you're wearing, so things just from your closet, but you dress it up in such a way to reflect a Disney character. And so we did that on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we did the cosplay costume.
Mm-hmm.
And both days, everybody had so much fun. We even put it on the stream, and the chat loved it. The people there loved it. The people participating loved it. Like it was definitely a crowd pleaser all around. So I know that it would be a hit if they ever did it at a DLC.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they, and I don't know when you guys actually ran it during the competition. I didn't get a chance to watch the stream, unfortunately, but um, if they decided to do more like evening events, at the DLCs.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
have,
Yeah.
official trivia, you have, the cosplay
Yeah.
competition, you have all this stuff that it's like, I mean, obviously not like the last day or so where, that final round can
People
go
are
until
flying
like one
out,
in the
right?
morning, and yeah, and people are flying out,
Right.
and um, but you'd have to time it right, so that it would fit in with the schedule. But, it'd be interesting to see if they actually added that kind of stuff in the future so that it's more, I mean, it
Yeah.
is an event now. You go, you see the artist, you play the games, you see the, all the folks in the community and everything. But to have, some other stuff around it that could potentially interest people
Yeah.
that are not as into the game, maybe draw some of
Yeah.
those casual players in because they want to do speed puzzling or, or
Right.
other things like
Yes.
that, to have
Exactly.
those options. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. So
Yeah. Like you said, the game will be around for 30 years
I
or more. So
there's
we have
time.
lots of time.
Well, and it's so cool to see Ravensburger and and the different organizations that they have running these events that are actually listening to the feedback and learning from it
Yes.
and saying because I think Milwaukee or Richmond they added the booth, the
Yeah.
collection quest booth and everything,
Yeah.
and the people that I walked in with, we were like, oh, well, that's new. In the Young Illumineers section where they had some of that stuff, versus just a sign like they had in Milwaukee. To add on that stuff each time and kind of grow it as it moves along. It's really cool to see them taking that feedback into account and actually listening to what the community wants versus what's going to make them the most money.
Definitely. Yeah. I think the team at Disney Lorcana is doing a wonderful job. I mean, they're not perfect, of course,
No,
and
of
some
course not.
things may never happen and some things might happen slowly, more slowly than we would like them to, but they have shown and continue to show that they listen to this community, and as much as they can do for the community, they want to do. And
Hmm.
every single event that I've been to this year for season 2 has improved, each one. And so I know it's all going in a positive direction. And I think that, next season will be even more amazing because they've had the time to plan, especially with the timing of like when Cooper started. Like
Hmm.
most of the stuff for season 2, I think was already planned when he came on. So yeah, anyway, I think that there's just a lot of exciting things to look forward to with this game.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not dead,
No.
despite what
Yeah. Despite
the
it seems
internet
like at
says.
least once a week
Once
somebody
a week.
posts, oh yeah, Lorcana is
Yes.
totally dead. It's like,
Yes.
so we
Yeah.
just sold out a
Sure it is.
DLC in under 5 minutes again.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's totally dead. Yeah,
Totally dead.
yeah. Well, and not just like the community feedback, it's also good to see Ravensburger and also, the different organizations that put on these events, whether it's the smaller events, the CCQs and everything, they kind of still keep this level of, or keep the idea in their head of being inclusive and being open to, anybody that wants to play the game can come in and enjoy it. And to kind of reinforce that at the events and reinforce that atmosphere, so that as much as possible, I mean, obviously there's going to be issues that happen, but as much as possible, everybody feels as comfortable as they can coming and playing. People are people, things happen, but to know that that's kind of, it seems like one of the foundational things on the community side of, yes, this is Disney Lorcana, this is how we're going to run our community. If you don't like it, go play Magic or.
Right. Right. I mean, I think there is something to be said though for like, especially for those of us who are big Disney fans and are in the Disney communities, like I don't know how Ravensburger views it internally, but it's like the Disney is first, and
Yep.
it's a trading card game. It's not a trading card game that happens to be Disney. It's a Disney game that happens to be a trading card game, right?
Yeah. I like that.
And
Yeah.
so the Disney is so important in it, and that is reflected in the community and the kind of space that we want, and the how it grows and everything. And so I think that's why we were talking about that earlier. Is it is different from other communities that I've heard. I also have not really been part of other TCG communities, but I think the Disney magic is what it is, man.
Yep.
We sprinkle pixie dust on everything. So.
Yep, definitely. Yep. And the best part is people don't have a problem with that. They're like,
right? Yes.
we're here
Yeah,
because
we do.
it's Disney and because we
Yes.
enjoy the game. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Rebekah, I've had a great time getting to chat with you. Thank you so much again for being on
Likewise.
for, I guess this was the 4th time technically, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah, that is kind of crazy. Thank you for having me. It's
Yeah.
wonderful to chat with you and to share, a little bit more about my journey and some of the behind the scenes and things that I don't always get to talk about in 90-second reels on Instagram. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, that I could see how that could be kind of limiting for for that kind of stuff.
Yes.
You could just make like 490-second reels and then you'll be
Right.
fine, right?
Yes. There. Yeah.
It's easy. Well, so normally I ask the same 4 questions of people, at the end of the episode, but I wanted to change it up since, you've answered these questions before. So, we actually already covered one of them, one thing you'd like to see at the future of DLCs.
Yes.
So I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to ask you either what have you played for Set Champs, or what are you going to play for Set Champs?
I'm only going to play one Set Champs, and it's coming up on Saturday, and I still haven't decided on my deck. I keep trying to play Amber Steel, and I keep trying to like it. And I've tried a few different versions of the deck, and I think that Amber Steel is just not necessarily, at least the version that Amber Steel is in right now is not for me. And so I probably will end up playing Amethyst Steel. That's what I've gone to, and I've been practicing with both, but Amethyst Steel just feels a little bit more comfortable to me. I like the style of how it plays, and I know it's one of the most popular decks out there, and I'll probably see a bunch of it, but
Yeah.
that's what I'm planning to take, I think.
All right. That's a solid choice. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I'll wake up on Saturday morning and go, no, I'm going to take Amber Steel anyway. Who knows?
Hey, I know people that take 2 decks in their box, and they're like 5 minutes before they're like, yeah, I'm going to play this one. I'm like, I don't know how you people can do that. I have to practice. I have to know the lines. So, okay. So what is your favorite mechanic in the game?
Yes, I thought about this, and my favorite mechanic is Rush. I decided. There are others that I like of like the keywords, but I just love being able to just drop a character down and immediately challenge in and take care of something. Like there's just something so satisfying about that. you know,
Yep.
I miss my foxes, but we got Sven right now. There's some. And then, of course, Ruby has a bunch of Rush characters. I wish there were more Rush characters that were not uninkable, though. So many are uninkable because it's so powerful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got to balance it somehow, right?
They have to balance it. I get it. But yeah, Rush is super fun.
Yep. Yeah, as somebody who, regularly has, Rush characters played against them because, the kind of decks I play are not like, no, they're not super strong. Let's just say that. It is very frustrating to have somebody start their turn with playing a Rush character, and it's like, oh, man, you just messed up everything on my side.
I know. And then I'm over there going, haha, I messed up everything you had planned.
I know, right? Some people.
Some people.
All right. Well, so third thing, not really a question, I guess, but third thing, give a shout out to some of your favorite LGSs.
Yeah, the LGS that I play at most every week when I can make it, is Constellation Collective here in Sacramento, in South Sacramento area. And they run an amazing weekly play where it's a casual league. So we do themes, and we do it 2 weeks in a row. So you don't have to build a brand new deck every week, but we do all kinds of themes, from like Prism, where you have to have different inks, to, build a ducks deck, or like we did build a critters. All of your characters have to be an animal, all different kinds of things, just to like really give people an opportunity to be creative with their deck building, play a little bit more casually, get away from the meta decks, and just come and have fun playing with your friends. And the community there and the people at the store that run the league are just really wonderful group of people. So I am very happy to have found my Disney Lorcana home there at Constellation. It's a fun group.
Nice. Yeah, I mean the community around it, the people that run the store even are such a huge part of. You hear the stories of people that it's like, the LGS will have Lorcana, but they're not really like invested in it, and so it just doesn't kind of work as well, So
yeah,
but your situation is kind of what you hope for, right?
It is. Yeah, it's been really great.
All right. Well, last question. Tell people where they can find you, where they can watch you in upcoming DLCs, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. So at Rebekah Quests here, you can Wait, it's over here. Here, Rebekah Quest. Everywhere, mostly on Instagram, but soon I'll be more on YouTube. I am going to be part of the casting team for a community event happening in San Diego. It's a CCQ, the Enchanted Citrus Clash. That's happening in May, the middle of May, I think, middle end of May. And then I will be at, of course, the upcoming DLCs in Dortmund, Germany, and in Indianapolis. Are you going to be there? Will I see you?
Probably not Indianapolis. I'm gonna try to make the nationals. I think it's.
Right.
I had to make a choice, and
that's fair.
Where we live is definitely a touristy kind of place, and so we always have lots of family and friends that want to come up and visit. And summer is the time that they all come. So
yes,
kind of have to take it down a notch, unfortunately. But
that's fair. Well, I will miss seeing you there, but hopefully then at the nationals. I'm really looking forward to that Infinity events coming up, though. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and it's great to see that it sold out so quickly, and everybody's really excited about it. So
yeah, it is. It's fun.
No
toy maker. No flabber.
No toy maker. No. Ban the mouse. Mouse, rat. I guess he's a mouse.
Mouse. He's a mouse.
Yeah. Is it too early to talk about Quest in the Park, or do you want to say wait on that one?
I can talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a date for it, so save the date, right? Mm-hmm. So save the date, at Nationals. So if you're coming to Nationals on the Thursday right before the weekend starts, what day is that? It's August 26th, 7th? Something whatever the Thursday is. I should know this since I'm helping to organize it. But on the Thursday before North American Championships, we're going to be hosting the Quest in the Park Day again, where it's just buy your ticket to Disneyland through the discounted on the Disney Lorcana site. They have the event page so you can get your discounted tickets. But it's just a day for everyone to show up at Disneyland on the same day and have fun together in the parks with other Disney Lorcana players. So I'm very excited about it, and we'll have more information coming out about it soon, but we are looking forward to spending a day in the park with all of our Disney Lorcana friends.
Nice. And how many people showed up last year? It was like 30-ish?
No, it was way more than that. I think over the course of the day, we probably had, because there was never any one time when everyone was all together in the same spot at one time, but we probably had around 100 people.
Oh, wow, and it's way bigger than I thought.
We took a picture. We took a picture in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle, and I've counted the picture multiple times because every time I talk about it, I'm like, is that how many there are? There's like 70 people in the picture in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle. And I remember when we took it and we had, the photo pass person do it or whatever. And I was getting teary eyed because it was like, look at this. We're here at Disneyland with all these people in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle. This is Disney magic. And it was just kind of a wonderful moment. And so I'm hoping that it's even of a bigger turnout this year. Hopefully they'll let us take a picture in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle again with such a big group. But it was a lot of fun, and definitely something that I want us to see us do every year if we can.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I hope to be able to, like I said, I hope to be able to attend the national stuff, and I'll be there if possible. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yay.
All right. Well, thank you again so much. I've had a great time chatting with you tonight. Yeah. And we'll see you around the community.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Well, it was great catching up with Rebekah after being so long since having her on the show. It really was an amazing milestone she reached. So, if you like the show, make sure to like, subscribe, and rate on your platform of choice. If you'd like to reach out to the show, you can find us on all the socials at Inkwell Lounge, or you can find a full list of links on inkwelllounge.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.